Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about our Apple Catcher game again. This is the third video. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be, if you remember, we haven't defined check collisions yet and we haven't defined check near wall yet. So let's go ahead and do that in the player class. Okay, so I've literally added all of the methods that we need. Okay, so I've added all of the methods we need. Check collisions, check near wall, and a whole slew of other methods, right, up, left, down. Let's go over this one by one. Okay, so, as everyone likes to read like up to down, it's not the best way at this point, but let's go ahead and just read this up to down. Okay, these four methods are very, very similar. Okay, basically, this is what allows our player to move, if that makes sense, right? So, what this right method does is we set our heading. This is basically we are going to set our rotation, but we're actually not going to rotate our figure, right? So it would be weird if our monkey suddenly turned like upside down. That's weird. But we're basically saying what direction are we going to make our monkey move? 0. Okay, 0 is right. 90 is up. Left. 180 is left. And 270 is down. That is just something you have to memorize. But again, I'm showing you this. These are one of the things. It's okay just to mindlessly copy them because you can always search this stuff up, right? How to move left, right, up, and down. And then I basically move forward by a certain amount. This depends, right? You might want to move your monkey like 50 steps or 20 steps. That's just, you playing around with the numbers. Okay? So, why do we have these? I'll talk about that in a bit. The first thing I want to look at is check collisions, right? So, let's read the docstring. If the distance between this player and the food is close enough, right? So what this means, remember down here we were, where is it? Yeah, right here. We were looping through all the players, and then for each player, we were looping through all the foods and checking if we are near it. So, if we are near the food, we are of course going to increase our score by the food's value, right? Like bananas are worth like a lot and apples are worth less. And the way we check that is we use the turtle's inbuilt distance method. So we can check the distance between ourselves and another turtle. And if that distance, whatever it returns, is less than 15, that means we're really close, then we increase our food value and we teleport the food to another location, right? So that it can be again eaten. What's food.teleport? Why? It's very simple. We basically move to a random position on the screen. What, you're telling me that this isn't simple? I'm just kidding. Let me explain this to you. Remember that our screen is actually split up into 4 sections, right? Because half of the screen's X is positive and half the screen's X is negative. Similarly, half of the screen's Y is positive and half of the screen's Y is negative. What we are doing here is we are basically saying, okay, we're going to choose a random position from the bottom of the screen and then a little bit higher than that, right? We don't want it to teleport all the way to the bottom. And then the top of the screen a little bit below that. So we're setting our box to be kind of a little bit smaller. And we do the same thing for random Y. And then we go to a random position. And remember, since the speed is 0, we literally teleport there. We don't like move there slowly. We teleport there, right? That's why the method is named teleport. Now, in order to talk about check near wall, we're going to have to set up our player's movement. Whoop, whoop. So let's go ahead and set up our player's movement. I'm actually going to comment this out right now. Don't worry about it for now. Okay, let's talk about the player's movement. Okay, so I've added a lot of commented code down here. But before I do that, I just want to run this and see if the game is working as normal. So we had an error. Player attribute, oh yeah, right here, right? So let's go ahead and let's comment this part out as well and run this. Okay, so remember, we're gonna keep on getting errors. One error that I see a lot, people are like, well, I fixed the error. Remember, again, save it. I've done this a lot, so don't worry about it. Okay, so as you can see, things are working. Our apples are initialized, our bananas are initialized. The apple and banana did teleport because remember, all of them initialize at the same point in the screen, even the apple and the banana, right? And since they've all initialized in the same screen, the monkey is touching both the banana and the apple. And since it did touch the banana and the banana and the apple both teleported to a random position, and our score was updated. So everything right now is working as intended. Okay? So I just wanted to make sure that you guys, like when you're running the code, at this point you should be at around this position where there are no errors. You know, the monkey score is showing, the farmer score is showing, the apple and banana does teleport. Make sure that all of this is working. I know that this is not that interactive, but the reason for that is because it's really hard to show you guys things without building upon, methods and classes. It's easier to show you guys at the end of the game and point out reasons why the game is working. But just to make you guys, set your guys' hearts at ease, the game should be working at this point. Okay, so this is a checkpoint. Cool. Now, let's look at some stuff that we've done. So right now, in our player, we have a new attribute called key array. Okay? And this is what it's going to do is it's basically, we're going to set up some listeners. Okay? We're going to set the movement, so we're setting the movement of ourselves and the key array. Now, what is a key array? If you scroll down here, this is our key array. A key array is basically it's going to always have 4 elements in it. The first element is how the player will move left. For the monkey, it's the left arrow key, and for the farmer, it is the A arrow key. If you've played Minecraft or any other sort of game, you know that A means left. Just like that, right and D are correlated with each other. They both represent moving right. The down arrow key and S, and the up arrow key and W. You can see where this is going, I'm pretty sure, right? So we basically take the key array, basically taking that key array, and we are going to set up our movement. Now, what is this set movement function? As you can see, I have a commented code right here. And what we're going to do is we are going to first make our screen listen. Yes, our screen is a human being. It can listen to us speak. No, it's not exactly like that. Our window is basically listening for events. And this is actually huge in game programming, right? A lot of people get annoyed by this part because it's so hard to keep track of events, right? Like, oh, did I collide with someone? Oh, did I press the arrow key? Oh, did I click my mouse? Did I press the space key? Handling that is annoying. So a lot of game engines or game modules like Pygame, Turtle, you might have heard of Unreal Engine, stuff like that. They have their listeners. They have inbuilt listeners that will listen for events. One of those events is movement. Okay? So right now, what we're going to do is we're basically binding an event. We're basically saying, hey, window, you're open for listening to me, right? But I want you to listen for specifically these things. For each player that I initialize, right, I want that player's left to be the first key array. If you remember, right, the first element of the key array is left. So for the monkey, that would be the left arrow key. And for the farmer, that would be the A arrow not A arrow key, the just general A key. Then right would be, for the, if you look down here, what is right? Oh yeah, right is D. I've played so much Minecraft and I still don't know this. Okay, but basically what I'm saying is we're binding for each function, player.left, .right, .down, and .up. We are binding it to the key. So left arrow key or A, right arrow key or D, down arrow key or S, and then up arrow key or W, depending on the player. And we can have more. If you look at your keyboard right now, I, J, K, and L could be used as a third player's character like movement, right? So we can bind it to J, L, K, and I as well. So that's something to consider when making this game, right? How do we make it scalable? This is how, okay? So now this is binded. Now our players will be able to move. There might be problems. Let's check. Let's make sure that we check things. Okay. As you can see, I'm going to press the up arrow key, the right arrow key, the down arrow key, the left arrow key. W, A, S, D. Oh my god, our characters can move. And when I collect the banana moves as well. Oh my god, this is a full game. This is amazing. This is amazing. You forgot about check wall, didn't you? Yes, the reason why we need to check for walls is because I can just yeet out of here and hide myself in a corner even though I wouldn't want to. So how do we make it so that when we hit a wall, we are not allowed to move past this point? It is complicated, but not as complicated as you think. Let's take a look at that. And after that, we'll probably conclude this video. I know this video has been long and complicated, so don't worry if you have questions. Remember to ask or comment down below, okay? Now, the last thing that we haven't looked at is this. So let's uncomment this. And by the way, player.right, left, up, and down relates to this stuff, right? So this serves as two purposes. Both to make our players move, right? And to also make our players move in the opposite direction when we hit a wall, okay? So I'm gonna explain the logic in a bit, but just imagine this, right? Basically, if we hit the left wall, right? So I'm gonna actually run this code again. That makes sense to do. I'm gonna comment this out again and run this. Looks like there was an error. Oh no, I have to stop the code first and then run it. Okay, so as you can see, if we're hitting the left wall, it makes sense for our character to move right? So we basically are equal and opposite reactions, Newton's law, stuff like that. Don't worry about it. Basically, we move to the left and then the wall pushes back and we move right. If we move to the down wall, the wall should be pushing us in the opposite direction, up, right? And by the way, one thing is that you actually can't hold down the arrow key. That's one of the limitations of Turtle. There is actually a way to do it, but it's very buggy. And it's called on-key press, and I'll show you that in a bit. And if we're moving up, the wall should be pushing down on us. And that's basically what this code is doing. So if we Control Z this, right? Checks each side of the turtle to see if it is near to colliding with walls. If so, then bounce back. So what we're saying is now the east edge and west edge is screen width divided by 2, negative screen width divided by 2. I've already explained this to you, so you should know this. These are like the boundaries, right? So now we're saying if self.xcore, you might have not seen this, but basically we're saying what is the x coordinate of our turtle? If it's too much to the right? If it's greater than the east edge, then we're basically going to push back. We're going to go to the left. If it's less than the west edge, if it's too far left, we're going to push it right. And then the same logic right here, okay? So now if you save this and run, I'm going to spam my monkey. Oh, did I save it and run? Okay, let me save it and run. Okay. Hopefully it should work now. Still not working. Oh yes, I forgot to actually uncomment that. Okay, so now it should, yes, work. And if I go up to the corner right here, it should work. And make sure you test out your game to see if it's working. Maybe make the upper wall, you know, a little bit of a higher limitation. Play around with the numbers, you know, it's all up to you, right? I'm not making this entire game for you. I want you guys to make it better. It's not the best of games right now, right? I think that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to be covering how we're going to end our game, right? Oh yeah, before we end this video, there's one last thing I want to show you. But basically, in the next video, we're going to be covering how to end up our game. That's basically it. But for those of you who are interested in why I'm not making you can see for yourself. Before, I had to spam the arrow keys to make my character move. But when you do on key press, okay, and run this, I can hold my arrow key, and as you can see, my character moves faster. But there's a problem. Okay, if I do 2 arrow keys at once, like right and up, watch this, I'm forced to only move in one direction. That is extremely annoying, but there are ways to fix that. I'm not going to cover them. But the other problem that even I'm having trouble with, so I'm going to ask you guys if you guys can come up with it. Let me know down in the comment below. Is when I'm controlling 2 characters, only one can move at a time. That is the main reason why I've decided not to use on key press. Okay? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.